What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another deck profile here on TCGU University for the card game UniVersus. My name's Tam, and today I'm going to be going over the Takeda deck that I made for this week's Twitch Picks Campus Championship. I had my Twitch chat when I went live streaming this past week, pick all the characters. Really fun stuff. So, if you like this deck profile, make sure that you go and you check out the Twitch Picks Campus Championship. It'll have its own playlist here on the channel. And yeah, let's just jump into it. All right, so this is Takeda. Takeda is one of the coolest characters that Jasco has ever printed. Takeda's gimmick. Let's back up. So if you haven't seen one of these deck profiles that I do for the UniVersus podcast, basically what I do is, as opposed to just laying out every card and reading it and telling you what it does, what I'm doing is I'm telling you why it's in the deck, and I'm kind of giving you the elevator pitch about the deck. There's a UFS Ultra link down in the description down below if you just want to look at the profile, but if you want my opinions and my thoughts on the deck as a whole, here's where you come. So what does Takeda do? So Takeda, in this deck in particular, he cheats. He takes and combo cards are really strong cards. And the reason they're so strong is because you have to play a card directly before them. You play a card, you play a second card. This card has to meet a requirement that is associated with the card directly in front of it, and then you get to do some cool stuff with it. Well, that is not what Takeda says. Takeda says that you get to take the thing inside the bracket and you get to just get rid of that. You still get the combo abilities on it, and so as long as your attack has the requirement, the other abilities that you put on the cards, they get to happen. So you kind of get to splice and put cool combo enhances on just a bunch of other stuff. And so yeah, let's push through and see what we can find. So full disclosure before we jump into this deck is not a complete and total deck. I think Takeda is one of those characters that this deck profile will be a good starting point, but you're going to have to find your flavor of Takeda. Your Takeda is going to be significantly different from my Takeda, significantly different from your neighbor's Takeda, but this is a good, like I said, a good starting point in order for you to see what Takeda looks like in the UniVersus 2020. So the first thing I want to talk about is I want to talk about the three solo combo cards. So Whip Assault is a card that says combo enhance. This deck gets 4 damage. Combo enhance, discard a momentum. Your opponent discards a card. And then deadlock combo enhance. If this attack is completely blocked, it still deals half damage rounded up. And so what we want to do is we want to splice plus 4 damage and discard a card whenever it's appropriate, but we don't actually want to play this card. We just want to make other things get plus 4 damage or make them discard a card. And so we're playing one Whip Assault in order for that to happen. If we happen to draw it, it's still a 6 mid for 6. It's still a really nutty card, but we don't necessarily need that card. In addition to that, we are playing one Rekka Shingeki, and the reason we're doing that is because it's really good to loop these two cards, to loop this card with Shira Ryukan. Just as a one-of in the deck, when you have double Ryukan, you enhance Ryukan, stack your Rekka, use Takeda, discard it. This card now has the combo ability of add another card from your card pool to your hand, so you add this one, play it again, use its ability, stack it on top. You discard it with Takeda, it now gets the ability, you pick the other one up, and you get to sit here and then just play these two cards on a 5, on a 5, on a 5, on a 5, doing 6 damage each, just pushing through, and your opponent doesn't have infinite blocks. So as long as you can check a 5 with Takeda, and you have the ability to not lose this card out of your discard pile, this 3-card combo kills everybody in the game if they can't deal with it. As long as you can check well, you check your 5s, they're dead. And so it's just strong enough by itself. We'll get to these cards here a little bit later. The next single card is Fatality. Sometimes with Takeda, I feel like my combos, if my opponent builds out a little bit too much, they don't quite get there. Or sometimes I am pushing and I push them into desperation, and then they're able to wall back up and stabilize and protect themselves. Fatality is a thing that I can toss Fatality's combo on, and if they happen to be in deadlock and they happen to be in desperation at the same time, I just auto win the game. And it just feels really good. In addition to that, there's some stuff in our deck, like we saw with the Takeda Whip Assault, that needs momentum. Just grab your free momentum. That's totally fine. All right, on to the real bread and butter of the deck. So the first combo attack that I want to talk about is Shinrai Ryukan. This is the scalpel for Takeda's surgery. This is what we want to splice everything that we can onto these three main ones, as well as every other combo attack that we have in our deck. This just says combo enhance, add one card from your discard pile to the top of your deck. This attack gets +3 speed or +3 damage. It's your choice. And then you use the Takeda enhance in order to give it its combo thing, another combo ability, and then you play it once again. Or play another ability. And so whether it would be to pick up or give it +4 damage. So you can give 3 speed, 4 damage, all for essentially free. And not using Takeda's once per turn ability. The next card that we really want to splice things on is Leap of the Loach. It combos with a weapon, which all of these cards are, except for Fatality and Rekka Shingeki. That's the name of the card. Yeah, Rekka Shingeki. They're all weapons, and so once again, it's not quite as sharp of a scalpel as here. We do have to use Takeda's once per turn, but this can copy and become anything. It's also a weapon, and it also says if it's blocked, your opponent commits a foundation. So it's a little future proofing. This is a really good lead-in attack in order to make the Shin Ryukan hit. Takeda's going for a spin. Up next, we've got the Tech. This is the third card that we want to block with, and this card's really, really good, just like Shin Ryukan. Shin Ryukan's a reversal. This card is also a reversal, but this card says a little bit extra. It is a reversal. Its stun is combos with a weapon, so you have to block reversal with an attack card. And then we give it stun 2, and then you can play any other thing, either giving it damage or speed or stack another card, or use the card that I'm saving for last, the obvious one. As well as it's unbelievable defense this card is. If I have a momentum for Fatality or me touching you with attacks, and I've got a card in my card pool, I did because I have to combo with this, I get to build one of my cards face down, discard the momentum, and then I remove your attack from the game. So it basically says negate one attack for every momentum that I have. Really, really strong stuff. Up next, we've got the last main kill card in the deck. This card, whether it's spliced or not, just kills people outright. Exploding Flame Roar. Its combo requirement is a weapon followed by an attack. So this needs to be the third card in your card pool. Excuse me, third card. And it can get stun 2 and build a foundation down, as well as +6 damage and build a foundation down. But on these cards, and being Takeda, I can just give +6 damage to any of these other cards. Any of these 3 cards can just randomly have +6 damage if I've got Exploding Flame Roar on the top of my deck. Any of these 3 cards can have stun 2 as long as I've got a Exploding Flame Roar on top of my deck. And so being able to push through and just like, oh, I'll accidentally give this reversal 3 speed. I'll accidentally give this reversal 6 damage. I'll Takeda and I get to give it an additional 6 damage. Well, now my little piddly 3 damage attack is actually swinging at you for your entire life total, and it got an extra 3 speed, and this is a reversal, and it had stun too, and. There's just so much happening inside that Takeda turns this attack on and makes it so cheap and so free. It's really baffling. This card single-handedly took Takeda from, you could say, like a B- tier all the way up to, I could argue, like A- into proper A tier. Like really, really strong stuff. So those are all the attacks. I believe we're only playing 19 attacks, and like I said, this is a surgical deck. You want to play a lot of options. We want to play a lot of really good stuff, and so the next thing I want to talk about is the assets that we play, because they're not the most obvious choices when it comes to cards. The first card that we're playing is actually Shishio. It says after one of my attacks is blocked, I get to take and build it face down. We don't necessarily want to do that, but what we do want to do is enhance destroy a committed foundation. My attack gets +2 damage. One of Takeda's big issues, sans Exploding Flame Roar, is killing people. And if I'm trying to do the cheeky stuff like looping Shin Ryukans, maybe I take all the committed foundations that I'm using and I'm just blowing them up in order to get +2 damage in order to try and check a little less. Turning it from a 6 damage attack into an 8 damage attack might be the thing that ends up killing my opponent. So Shishio is a strong card. Plus, honestly, it's a weapon. And so it's a weapon, and so we can combo with Exploding Flame Roar because it needs a weapon and then an attack. So I can have Shishio, Exploding Flame Roar, combo off. And then the last card that I have is the White House. There are surprisingly enough cards inside of this deck that build down themselves that this says that it's really hard for my stuff to be revoked, as well as taking and when I build something down, I get to draw an additional card and become just an 8 hand size character. It's strong enough, I think, in order to be played mainboarded, just on the terms of I don't want to get stopped. I don't want to get Punch and Judy. I don't want to get these really, really strong actions. The other option that you have is you could be playing Stop in the main board. You could be playing Let's Cut Loose. I opted to play the White House instead just because I thought it was more interesting that I could stack something with Takeda and then pick it up with White House if I can build something down. So there's that. Moving on to the foundations. My goodness, I got lost in my own thought there. I was thinking about cool stuff. What I want to talk about now is how I get cards from my deck into my discard pile. Takeda says once per turn I can stack a cool combo piece, and so here's the way that I'm going to do it. The first card that I'm playing is Sense of Morals. This says it's stun hate as well as check a 4 on every single attack, my attack, your attack, and so I just get to put cool stuff into my discard pile in order to make sure that I get to see as much as I can. Playing 4 Folktale Storytellers. This combos with White House because it builds its stuff down, and mills 3 in order to work with Takeda, as well as you can commit it to stuff back into your deck. That was hard to say. We're playing Triple Wishing Ward. Mill 3, discard one of your opponent's momentum. It is momentum hate as well as discard. They synergize too well not to be played. Playing Never a Day Without Training. So this combos really well with Takeda with the stack with Takeda or stack with Shin Ryukon, and then discard a card and pick it up. Or if you've got one of your 4 assets, you get to just flip and pick it up. Really strong stuff. Should we be playing more draw power? I actually think so. I think there's plenty of cuts that we could be making in the deck in order to play some more technical choices here. This card is, I think, just good enough, though. Here's my favorite part of the deck. We're playing 4 Friends and Rivals. All the reversals that we're playing, or all of the cards that we're playing, asterisks, have both the fire and the good symbol. And so whenever I play one of them, especially on reversal, I'll just take and commit a bunch of your cards and then kill you with them. This was the one saving grace whenever I was playing this deck, is hitting your rad reversals off of this card was just good enough to shut your opponent down for the turn, and then you can do your cool combo stuff without your opponent being able to interact with you on their foundations, which was the thing that killed Takeda the most. Is you got to have ways to deal with the foundations. Speaking of not dying, Keiko's Aid. Keiko's Aid says after you block an attack, flip it, and then you get to their next attack has +2 difficulty. This card says that I get to live another turn for the same way that this card does. This card wants them to stop attacking whenever I play my cards as reversals. This card says that I want them to stop attacking because of +2 to the difficulty, and so I need to stop my opponent from doing stuff. Like imagine how crazy this is, being able to block with a Keiko's Aid and then block, respond Keiko's Aid, hit the reversal, and then Friends and Rivals. So they're under the +2 difficulty. They've committed 2 more foundations. I'm for sure gonna get my next turn in order to combo off and kill you with my loops. In addition to Keiko's Aid, we've also got 3 Kieran Soul, which say if you block this attack, it deals no damage. As a 7 hand size character with 20 vitality, it is very, very easy to accidentally die to a throw or a spirit shotgun or something along those lines. So I need to be able to block and manage what I can manage the damage that I take. We're playing 2 Bakery Poster Girl. Bakery Poster Girl says Enhance Destroy, block something for free. It's also playable while committed. This is a really, really safe card. If you're not playing this card, you should definitely be thinking about it inside of the good symbol. Here's where things get a little dicey for the deck, honestly, is we're playing 4 A Master's True Power. I wanted this card to have way more value than it did inside of this deck, and inside of Takeda, it actually just didn't. There was plenty of times where I wanted this to be just something else. Enhance Commit Destroy for minus damage. This card's fine. I think it has a place in a lot of decks. I just don't think it is Takeda. So whenever you go and you net deck this one, you should probably change this card. To what? I'm not sure yet. We're playing triple Overly Dramatic. Overly Dramatic is one of the staple cards that we have under these 3 symbols. we definitely want to take and play this card just because of how good of a defensive piece it is. It is so strong that it interacts with so many cards that even if something had something along the lines of like draw 2 cards, your attack gets -2 speed or +2 speed. This card just stops all of it. It stops the speed, and so it stops the draw as well. We want to play this card because there's so many cards in the game that interact with the speed and damage stats in these ways of decrease damage, increase speed, that it just cancels it all the way up to it. It also says non-character. It doesn't say non-character ability, so we can stop things like Sungmina. Very, very strong card. In order to make sure that our cool thing happens, Takeda has to work. If our character is turned off, then the whole deck is turned off. Takeda is the lifeblood of this deck. And so Protecting the Protector says that they can't seal my attacks or they can't seal my character, all at the cost of discarded momentum, which is super, super useful. We're already playing the one Fatality. We're already playing the other good pokes. And so using a momentum in order to say that I get to keep playing the game, very much worth it. Playing double Ominous Prophecy, I wanted to be able to take my assets and toss them into my momentum if I absolutely needed or wanted to. In addition to shutting off my opponent's assets, I was afraid of their swordfishes. I was afraid of something along those lines and stopping their assets. As well as, if I'm good enough, I can take and stop. This card can stop the combo keyword, and so if I ever had the mirror match, obviously not inside of our tournament because of how it's structured, but if I ever had the mirror match, this card just auto beats them. Hey, you can't play, your cards don't have the combo keyword anymore. All right, your combo enhances don't exist. They don't have a gate to go through, and so this card outright beats Takeda. Into this section now, we're playing a bunch of one-ofs, and so I'm going to explain the reasoning behind what one-of and then why it is a one-of. We're playing one Bearing My Clan. There's tons of cards in our deck that have the Deadlock ability, specifically such as Fatality or Whiplash, and so being able just to, my opponent has 6 foundations, you're actually a Deadlock for this one. All right, now my Lash is or what is the card called? Whip Assault, yeah. My Whip Assault's now a throw. Super, super good enough at a one-of. Playing one Cool and Focused. The cool thing about this card is that we can stack it with Takeda and then pick it up off of a draw, or stack it with whatever and pick it up with a draw, and then get a free mid-block. Really good on the reversal plays in order to shut my opponent down. Playing one No Surprises. It's just another check of 4, and it's check of 4, your opponent discards the top card of the deck. It doesn't need to be in here, no, but it's a 6 randomly that I can stack with Takeda, and that's really why I wanted it. We're playing one Fool by the Master. It's just another copy of Takeda's once per turn, his commit, enhance, flip, discard momentum, play one combo, and enhance. You've already played this enhance step, and so Takeda has to commit to do that. This is just discard momentum, flip. After Stun Attack's played, it loses all keywords. That card's fine. It's not amazing, but it's fine. This is what we really want to play, just to play more Takeda stuff, do more cool combos. One Refusing to Let Go, it's a staple. Just reset the damage. You should look into this card if you're still getting blown out by big attacks. One Confronting Jedah. This is a really good tool with Shin Ryukan. You can auto give Shin Ryukan 3 speed and then Confronting Jedah to give it 3 more damage, and so it just kind of lets you just double up for once. Playing one with Nature in order to push some attacks through. There's plenty of times where I get cards in my hand that I don't necessarily need for my combo, and I'm trying to kill you this turn. And so in order to make sure that I can push my my damage through, especially when I get to keep looping my Flame Roars, that 6 damage doesn't do anything if it's full blocked. So this makes sure that doesn't happen. And then my last card is Wandering Pirate. Whenever it just counts as like 4 foundations all by itself, and so it just lets me extend a little harder. And then if my extension, if my push doesn't quite work, I can ready itself and then another thing in order to try and block 1 or 2 things. All right, so that was my Takeda 1-dot deck profile under good. And I have a bit of a confession. So I said at the very top of the video that this is a good starting point, and I do believe that. But I actually think that this character is This deck is not as good as it could or should be. I gave myself a bit of a time constraint. I made it in like the day before, and this is one of those characters that the more time that you spend grooming your deck, the more you're going to get out of it. This is a very surface level look at all the interesting, cool things that Takeda can do, and so if you are interested in playing Takeda, then you definitely should take the deep dive and really commit to playing this character. There's going to be plenty of games with it you're going to just get blown out, but because of the three symbols that he has, Fire, Good, Void, specifically Fire and Good, there's a lot of really good answers that you have interacting with my opponent or making my combos harder or stronger or stopping my opponent from stopping me. There's plenty of stuff that the good and fire symbols can do in order to do that. And so you definitely, if you're interested in Takeda, give this deck a try, but then you really need to groom this deck. And that's where the next thing comes in. If you want to have a real conversation about Takeda and you want us to spend a lot more time working with you on Takeda, make sure you go out to patreon.com/TCGUniversity and we can have like a full talk in our Discord, or hit me with a deck profile down in the comments down below. Let's really talk it out and find out what the neatest, coolest, most consistent Takeda deck that there is. So thank you very much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. I hope you learned something. I know I learned something piloting this deck. And stay alert.